Coming up, we're diving into how to choose the right UPS to keep your 3D printer running smoothly through power blips, brief outages, and pesky surges. Let's get some lights on. Welcome back, everybody. We have handfuls of stuff here. It is freezing cold outside. It is toasty warm in here. I came out about 20 minutes ago and turned the heater on. First of all, thank you to everybody who's subscribed. Between the last video and recording this, I hit 100 subscribers. Thank you to everybody for that. Tonight, it's a late one. I need to get all of these printers onto UPSs. We've had a couple of power blips and I've had 2 connected to one. Another UPS came up on Marketplace, which is the same one, really cheap, so grab that. I'm gonna stick 3 onto each UPS. Before I can do that, I had a shipment of filament come in. The courier decided that they were going to play some sort of Olympic sport with the box, and they completely, absolutely destroyed this box to the point that it ejected an entire spool. For them to do what they did, I don't know what sport they were playing, but great effort. With the UPSs, if you pick the wrong one, when you hit print and it hits that print bed, the UPS shuts down. It just has a safety trip because it's overloaded and it turns off. I'll explain how to pick a UPS for your printer and the correct one, so you don't go out and burn money on one you don't need, or you buy some Goliath of a UPS which you actually can't plug into your home power and use. So either, I don't want those outcomes for you. I already had that outcome, so I'll throw in that info as well, but let's get all this tidied up first.
A few moments later.
With UPSs, a lot of people get caught up with the VA rating. Now, this will have a VA rating on the front. The VA, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it's most certainly the second concern. The VA is not the primary concern. And there are some UPSs which have a huge VA rating and people go, oh, you know, that'll run forever. You know, it's fantastic, this and that. When I say forever, exaggeration, but in 3D printing, you're worried about the wattage. The wattage is your primary concern. I'm talking about Bambu printers here, obviously, because that's what I print with. Whether you have an Anycubic and, I don't know, Aligu, Sovol, Creality, any of those other printers, the principle's exactly the same. You just need to find out how many watts your power supply is. That means when it goes full ball and it wants to heat up, it's not going to trip the UPS. The UPS is able to supply that amount of power and it will heat up and then it will come back down. So the other important thing to realize is when you're picking a UPS, it's very unlikely the power's going to go out the moment you hit print and you are pulling all that wattage. Work out what your current draw is during a normal print. You can use something like the Tabo device. You can use just a power meter that plugs in to your PowerPoint and shows you on the LCD screen. I think they're like $10 off Amazon, and it will show you how much you're consuming. The normal power consumption during a print that is now underway, that is what you want to base how long your UPS is going to run for. This one here is 2200 VA, which essentially for 3 of my Bambu Lab printers running will run me here in Australia between about 60 and 80 minutes is that vicinity based on my power draw. I'm also using the BICU BTT cool plates, which means my power consumption is far less than a gold normal Bambu Lab PI plate. So because my heat bed is cooler, and I'll let you know now with these printers, a big chunk of the power that is being used is actually keeping the heat bed warm. So if you're running a cool plate, using a lot less power. Now, if you're running multiple printers on one UPS, and I'll show you the back of the UPS. So we're not going to get all crazy with USB ports and all this other power monitoring rubbish. We're just going to focus on how it works. That plugs into your PowerPoint, and then these 4 run backup power off the UPS. So what happens is if you get a power blip or the power cuts out, the batteries in here will supply power to the 3D printer. As soon as the power kicks back in, it will now use power from your mains line and it will recharge the batteries in there. But it is a flawless switch. Your printers don't even notice it's happening. It takes over and supplies the power. It's an uninterruptible power source or power supply. If I am running a single printer, and that is 1100 watts on heat up, and then it drops down. And my printers, because I also use a cryo plates, I consume about 50 watts, 40 watts to 50 watts per printer as I'm printing, in that vicinity, sometimes up to 60, but that's about where I sit. Now, if I had something I want to send to all three printers, and I'm using the multi-print like you're in Bambu Slicer, and you're like, way, I want to send it off, or Orca, whatever you're in. One of the issues is all three are going to try and heat up, and that's 3,300 watts, and it's going to trip the safety in the UPS. And my UPS is going to shut off, and my prints aren't going to work. When it shuts off, you have to come out, you have to press the button on the front, and it starts up again, and there you go. So what you can do in Bambu Studio is tell it to stagger the warm-up. So you can set that if you're really close to your power level, print one and delay. And if you know it takes 3 minutes to heat the bed, set the bed at 3 minutes. If it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes. If it's 1 minute, 1 minute. Work out how long it takes you to go from 0 to whatever your normal print bed temperature is, let's say 70 degrees. And if that takes 2 minutes, add a minute just for precautionary measure, and make that setting 3 minutes. And I'll show in the video how you do that. And then what happens is the slicer will send the file, it will kick off one printer, wait 3 minutes, it'll send the file, it'll kick off the second printer, wait 3 minutes, and then kick off the third. So what's happening is you're using 1100 watts, then you're coming down to 60, and then it's kicking off the second one. So now you're using 1160. 3 minutes later, you're now using 120 because you have two printers running, throws in 1100 watts, now you're using 1220. And now you have all three printers running on one UPS, in my case. In your case, if you're in the US and you have a 1000 watt UPS, and you have 3 printers or 4 printers hooked onto that one UPS, you can boot 2 off at once. They'll kick off at 350 watts each, 700 watts, and that you can put 2 in the setting. And then once those 2 have heated, bang, you can boot another 2. So you can kick 2 prints off at a time. And it's really easy. I'll quickly show you in Bambu Studio how I control how many printers are firing up at once. So I have here a multi-device tab. If you do not have that tab, open up settings in Bambu Studio. In this top section, you have multi-device management. Click the checkbox so it goes green. Save your settings, close Bambu Studio, open Bambu Studio again, and you'll have the multi-device tab. We go back to preparing. You can slice the plate, and instead of hitting print plate, click the drop down next to that button and send to multi-device, and now the button changes. Now you press the button. Now here you can control which printers are going to print this file. So you can select 1, 2, 3, however many printers you want, you select them. And down the bottom here is how you control how many printers fire off at once. So in this example, 2 printers at the same time. Depending on how much your UPS can take, you may only want 1 printer at a time. And then you can set your wait time between printers kicking off. Once you hit send, Bambu Studio will manage the rest of this. It will send to those 1 or 2 printers you selected, it will wait, and it will send the next batch of 1 or 2 printers off in 5 minutes, depending on what you've set in these boxes. Simple as that for controlling how many printers fire up at once. Let's jump back into the vlog. Now, if you're not multi-printing, if you're sending 3 different prints, it's very rare you're going to be able to slice, send, this is a large print, and then before the printer's heated, slice, do your setting, open another project, do your setting, slice, and send another one to the next printer whilst the first one's heating. So if you're not multi-printing, if you're just printing normally and you have 3 or more printers or 2, whatever you've got, then it's not a problem because you're manually going to take enough time between prints. And if you don't feel you are, just remember, you got to wait 2 minutes, 3 minutes before you send the next print, and then you won't trip your UPS. Now, the way around that is you can buy a really big UPS that is rated, that can do multiple printers going full snap, right? Problem with that is they cost a lot of money, a hell of a lot of money. The second side of that is they may have a larger plug. So this has a normal 10 amp plug, and that is, I'll pull that out here, where I had to grab the damn longer one, didn't I? So this has a normal 10 amp plug. And so as long as what I'm doing is up to 10 amps, I can plug this into a normal 10 10 amp plug here in Australia. Your plug's probably a bit different, but similar principle. If I have a UPS that is, you know, maybe it can do 4,000 watts or whatever it's rated to. Now, 15 amp plugs used to be a little bit more common back in the day when people had big wall air conditioners, those big square units that used to sit in your wall. But yeah, if you buy a UPS that is too large for your house's circuitry, you're not going to be able to plug it in. So for that reason, you want to on the side of caution, and you want to pick something that is capable but isn't crazy. So what I will do, I will put some links down the bottom, and I'll put options if you're on 220 volt, hence Australia, and I'll also put the options for if you're in the US on 110 volt. Now let's go into the VAs. Typically a 3D printer uses a hell of a lot of power to warm up, and then once it's warm, it drops the power level that it's using. So because of that, you spec up based on your wattage and then worry about your VA. Like, I would have been really happy if this was 1000 VA and 1320 watts. I'd be super happy with that. It's going to be a hell of a lot lighter. This thing's like 30 odd something kilos. So it's going to be a hell of a lot lighter, easy to move, cheaper to buy, but correlation with the more the VAs, the more wattage, but not always. There are actually some that have really high VA ratings and really low wattage, and I don't know why that is. I haven't delved into that. As long as you spec your wattage above your power supply wattage on the printer, you'll be fine. And if you want to run multiple printers, work out what the printing wattage consumption is. And so you have your max consumption, you have your printing consumption, and then make sure whatever the consumption is, you have enough overhead for your consumption plus the next printer heating up. And then you'll always be under the limit, and your UPS will be suited to your 3D printer. I hope I've sort of explained that as best I can. Okay, so let's go get these UPSs hooked up to all of the printers. Screws are in, but you can see it's wobbling. I don't like that. So the screws need to go in a little bit more, and once they're in, then it shouldn't wobble. So this one here is going to be the longest run. So I do have a specific cable for this one. I can actually show you with this one up on the bench. These are the vents on each side, and there is a fan here. And so from what I understand, this fan blows in, and so you can feel the heat coming out. So it's important not to cover and allow that heat to dissipate. So we've got 8% on the top one, 100% charge on the bottom one. The top one's the one off Marketplace, so we'll just wait for it.
A few moments later.
Why don't we just test, and you can see how the UPS works. So I will grab this. I will press this one, which is display, and it's telling us the battery is actually now at 100% because this one's running the top ones, it's charged. And so what we should see, I will press this, which will turn all of the stuff there off, and we'll hear a beeping. The top LED light's turned off. That's because they're running off this circuit, and that is not on UPS. But the printer is on the battery, and it is running fine. There is no mains power. This is all now running off the UPS. And we can hear the alarm going off. 0 volts going in, got alarms going off. It is providing 230, 240 volts to our printers. I'm hoping that's in focus. Now I will try and aim the camera here while I press. I'm going to turn the power on. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. You probably heard it click. You can see now it's steady. and it will start charging. So we didn't even take anything out of the battery. It's still at 100%. And as you can see, the lights on the riser are back on. So there we go. Absolutely perfect. Super happy with that. Damn, this vlog's becoming a bit of a bitzer. The H2D from Bambu Lab, the power ratings on the X1, P1s, A1s, they all include the AMS because the AMS runs off the power supply in the printer. If you have bought a H2D and you're trying to match your power supply, based on also the information in the video I've given you about making sure you have the maximum watt coverage over your power supply, please remember your H2D with the heater in the AMS is using external power. And if you have now bought a X1 or P1 combo with the new AMS, again, external power, so you need to add that onto your total. The new AMSs that heat up are not using power from the P1 and X1 and H2D. They have an external power supply to run the heating element inside the AMS. With that said, I will put at the bottom of the description, put what the additional wattage is. But yeah, generally, depending on where you are, you're going to be looking at up to about 100 and something watts in there. So, sorry, that's another cut in onto the vlog while I was doing something else and it triggered in the head. I don't plan these videos, I sort of just fly with it, so apologies. In the next video, we build a really affordable 3D printed heat set insert press and put it to use on some new products. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out.